So I got a message the other night from somebody on Instagram telling me he's back. Now, this was in reference to a video I made over 2 years ago in which I covered a TikTok star named Nick who was scamming his audience by making asset flip games while taking in thousands of dollars on Patreon. Now, that whole situation actually blew up significantly. Moist Critical ended up making a video on the guy, and even in this reel from a year ago, he admitted that he lost over 250,000 followers. His Patreon essentially crumbled. There are still people backing the Greed of Men server costs on Patreon, and he put this reel out saying this.
So about a year ago, I released my multiplayer game to the world, and I promised a city built and ran by players where everyone would be able to become police officers, run their own illegal businesses, run their own shops. It was kind of the ultimate RP game. And as you all remember, right after releasing it for $30, which was way overpriced, many YouTubers called me out for my so-called scam. And after the controversy, a lot of you stopped watching. A lot of you unfollowed. I lost about 250,000 followers, and this was all a fair reaction. But rather than quitting like some of the videos suggested I do, I decided to switch the game to free and then dig in and work on the game as hard as I could over the next year. So here we are a year later, and I've set in stone the baseline for what the game needs to become.
It seems like he might have learned his lesson, right? Well, a week after that reel came out, he then put this one out.
I'm making the biggest game ever completely on my own. It's an empire building game where the entire Earth is the map. It's even going to be available on console and be multiplayer.
So like, fuck Greed of Man. It's still on Steam in early access since 2023. And apparently alongside all of these other projects he's working on, he's still finding ways to update the game apparently. And as of about 3 months ago, he actually put out this reel asking for a second chance to make Greed of Man as best as he possibly can.
About 2 years ago, I promised you all an RP game where the entire city was built and ran by players. Now, of course, you know how the story goes. I released it unfinished, and with my inexperience, charged way too much for it, and that caught a lot of flack from the YouTube community. Since then, I've graduated high school, worked on a couple other projects, and after the successful relaunch of World of Fate, I'm here to ask you a question. Would you give me a second shot to make the version of Greed of Man that I promised you? A fully fleshed out RP game with mechanics that the community decides? A game where you would start with basically nothing, either join other people in their conquests, or start from scratch buying your own apartment, building up your own army, producing drugs, building your own house, and whatever other features that the community suggests. Now I know I've done you guys wrong before, but I really do want to redeem my reputation, and I'm willing to work on this as long as it takes.
So it seems like Nick actually might be learning a few things, maybe taking his time, actually learning game development, and wanting to do something that might be within his scope.
So I'm making a game where all the players start together in the wilderness. It is then up to the players to rebuild society. They first all begin by chopping down trees, and then using those trees to build huts. They can then upgrade those huts later on into houses.
Okay, so it's a pretty standard survival experience. Great.
You can spend your time in the game building your own bar where you sell drinks to everyone that plays. Or you could become a landlord, rent out apartments to other players that are new. This player-ran society is going to have an economy ran by the players, because the only resources in the game are actually gathered by other players.
Okay, that seems pretty ambitious, but all right.
And each server is its own city. So let's say there's a server where there's a ton of forest and you just harvest a ton of trees. You could then take those trees, put them on the back of your truck, and drive to another server that has a ton of desert. They don't have much trees. They're going to be in high demand of those trees, so you're going to be able to sell for a huge profit. And then you can take that money and go to another server and build your own apartment complex, where you then rent out rooms to other players that are new that don't have their own place to live.
What? Okay, so not only is this kid straight delusional, I really just can't stand the way that all of this is coming about. We already talked about his previous games before Greed of Man and how they were unfinished, but now he still has a Patreon. There's 14 paid members for Greed of Man server costs while he's kind of slowly updating the game. Now, I will say slowly because he updated the game in August of 2024 and then disappeared for 9 months and then showed up in April of this year to be like, hey, we're back in the swing of things. But now not only do we have Greed of Man, we also have this other game called World of Fate. I know it's kind of tough to track down because we have two different profiles on Steam. We have one that is Nick, and then we have another one that is Nick's Games, where you can see World of Fate. So I don't know why he has two different developer profiles on Steam. Maybe it's to keep these things separate so people can't see them. I don't know. It's very fucking weird. But now we also have this upcoming game called Tomorrow's Past. I gotta say, before we get into Tomorrow's Past, both Greed of Man and World of Fate are some of the most ambitious titles that I think I've ever fucking seen. For an indie developer who's just coming out of high school, I don't know. Like, maybe we should think about lowering the scope a little bit, something a little bit more achievable and not achievable with just assets and blueprints you find on the Unreal Marketplace. That would be great. But now we also have an upcoming game called Tomorrow's Past, which again looks like another fucking asset flip. Explore a city lost in time, run extensive black market businesses, construct factories and transportation networks to become the mod boss you've always wanted to be. And I don't know when this is coming out, but he does say on here, thanks to all my Patreon supporters for making development possible. As a reward, I'm giving away a free access key for every Patreon member. So I think this is the game that Nick is talking about in these reels that I just showed you. But what's crazy is as he's starting to make his return to social media, people have been calling him out that this is the developer of Greed of Man, who, if you look up Greed of Man, you're going to find my video, you're going to find Moist Criticals and other YouTubers pointing out that he basically scammed his audience. Here's his response to that.
Dude, I made Greed of Man when I was 16. Just a wee little boy. I am amazed that a 30-year-old on YouTube got mad at a 16-year-old over a video game that he made bad. Dude, it's not that deep. And this new game I'm making, it's gonna be a banger. I promise.
Now listen, if you're a fan of the channel, you've been around here for a while, I've seen this kind of tactic before. They always hide behind the fact that they're 16 or they're 17. I was just a kid. It doesn't matter to me. The fact is you had thousands of people buying into your bullshit. You had people backing you on Patreon for thousands of dollars a month, and you delivered a game that was nowhere close to the things you were advertising in the TikTok. But guys, he was 16, right? Now he's just out of high school. He's a grown man now. It's weird because he acts like he's learned a lesson. He always, against my better judgment, my inexperience, blah, blah, blah. And then he uses it as a defense mechanism for doing the same kind of fucking bullshit that he was doing before. Now, this Tomorrow's Past, I don't know what the price point of the game is going to be. If he releases it for free, well, then it's just another free-to-play garbage asset flip on the Steam store. The worst we can say is, another one? Great. But if he's charging money for this bullshit, knowing that it's going to be sitting in early access forever, because these games are so unattainable for even the largest of studios, Rockstar couldn't make this fucking game. And so when I see people just actively doing dumb shit and saying just outlandish claims and saying they're going to be making the greatest fucking game ever, and let me remind you, a game that you can unlock resources, chop trees, a basic survival game, but then every city is its own server, that if you end up in a biome with forests and stuff, you can chop down trees, load them into your truck, drive that truck to a different server, sell those trees to other players, maybe in a desert biome who don't have access to trees, even though they could, I guess, just drive to the other server and get them. I don't quite, well, whatever. The logistics of making that a reality is insane. It reminds me a lot of the claims we heard about Dead Matter leading up to their alpha launch, where they said you're going to be able to drive across servers, which, I mean, as we all know, was just complete fucking bullshit. And we all know how Dead Matter's doing. Maybe we should take a look back in, just peer over the fence, see how our old Canadian zombie survival game's hanging on. Yeah, this is all bullshit. This dude is just using his age as a deflection for being a fucking idiot and trying to scam and lie to people. Like, he even posted a reel as I'm recording this video saying this.
People need dramatic examples to shake them out of apathy, and I can't do that as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, GTA 6 graphics, where you have a single metahuman standing in a gray box dev environment, not having to render anything else but their eyes. Good stuff. And I'll be honest, if anybody buys into this shit after Greed of Man and everything else that he's pulled in the past, you kind of deserve your money to be taken. As I'm editing this video, I kind of got a thought. Maybe some of you guys are thinking, like, why does this matter? Why are you even making this video? And I think the fact that I have seen just so much shit come through the industry from indie developers, and I use the term developers loosely, guys like this who claim big things, try to get people to buy into it, and then inevitably it either turns out to be a lie or it's just going to require years of development that, for the most part, most of these developers don't have the capacity to do. Game development isn't just something you can slap shit together and throw it out onto the marketplace and be successful. But you have people like this who make these grand claims, get people to buy into it, and they're making money off of lies. And I think even more so since we started jumping into our own game and developing that, and I mean, honestly, this is hitting kind of at the perfect time. We're starting to ramp up to launch and we're going to be doing our marketing and all that stuff. I think even more so now, it pisses me off that we have bad actors in the industry that are just getting by lying to their fan base. And I think with this guy specifically on top of it, I'm also a YouTuber. I'm also in this content space. If I was advertising transients and telling you guys just straight up lies and also comparing it to some of the biggest games in the industry, I know my audience, you guys are gonna hold my feet to the fire with it. It would be a different story if some things that we talked about during the devlogs might not have come to fruition because some things just conflicted and things change over time. That's not what's happening here though, right? You have a guy actively claiming this new game, which is already the most ambitious game ever, is also going to have GTA 6 graphics. So then people see that, he's using the GTA 6 hashtags, it's going to go viral. People are gonna look at it, they're gonna go over to the Patreon, they're gonna wanna support. It's just fucking lying. And I have a major problem with it. But once I saw that Instagram message, I said, you know what? Why don't we take a look and see what's going on? And it's the same old, same old. The more things change, the more they usually just stay the same. I can't wait to play Tomorrow's Past when it inevitably releases into early access development hell. That's gonna be a good day. But until then, my name is Big Fry. Shout out to every Patreon member who is supporting this channel. If you guys want to become a Patreon member, the link is down in the description below. But if not, that's cool too. Leave a like on the video and let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys aren't subscribed with the bell set to all, do so you never miss a video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.